Welcome back, everybody. This is not a Malazan video. Today's Malazan video will come later today. I'll be recording it in a couple of, I don't know, in an hour, and then it's going to go up later today. But this is something that I wanted to talk about for a while now, because I don't know how these things will go on in the future, and now that I've learned that today, not tomorrow, beer gardens will open up again here in my town, I figured the future will happen, so maybe I should talk about it and think about it. So this is basically me, ruminating on where this channel will go, what I will do in the future with it, and asking, obviously, all of you who have been so incredibly kind to subscribe to this thing, what do you think of these things, and so forth. So yeah, let's do this. Cheers. All right. So I've said this before. Like when I started this channel, I had like no expectations. I was like just doing this, hanging out on Iskar's Jarak's Discord server, and he was doing this challenge. Like, can you make a Malazan synopsis, spoiler free? I did that, and then I don't know. Things kind of went from there, in a way. And if you'd asked me, like in December, what I would expect this channel to be like, I was like, maybe I'll do it for like a couple of weeks and then I'll be done with it. And now we're like half a year later, sort of, almost, I don't know, and I'm still here, and I have like I don't know, probably almost 100 videos on this channel, which is crazy. And yeah, there's like obviously a bunch of questions that I'm sort of not sure what I will do with. One of them is obviously, what will I do after I'm done with the Crippled God, which will be, I don't know, in 3 or 4 weeks I'll be done with like the Malazan Book of the Fallen. And there's obviously all kinds of options. There's the Carcanas trilogy, or those 2 books that are already out there. There's also The God Is Not Willing, coming out in Europe at least on the 7th of July. That might be something that I want to get into rather sooner than later, I guess. There's obviously also Path to Ascendancy and all the novels of the Malazan Empire out there, so I could keep going doing these like daily read along diary thingies for the foreseeable future, probably until the end of the year, if I keep going at this rate. Maybe a bit faster, a bit slower. Do like I don't know, I mean, currently my idea is to do like I don't know, 5 during the weekdays and do something else on Saturday and Sunday. I could, shorten this up and do like 2 or 3 Malazan videos every other day or whatever, like, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and do something else on Tuesday and Thursday. Or so I'm not sure about that. The other thing is obviously, like, that when I look at it stuff, when I do like more abstract video essay style of things, they usually get more responses and stuff on YouTube, which we come to the other part of this, like, once you've reached, like me now, 560 something subscribers, this suddenly becomes more than just for whatever reason, it becomes more than just me ruminating, like doing stuff and not caring what anyone else thinks. Suddenly there is people out there who apparently like what I'm doing, which is strange to me, but so there's that, and I'm not sure whether I should go more into that direction. Should I just do more like specific Malazan specific stuff, or broaden out into other like fantasy book stuff? There's obviously a ton of other books that I like to read, a ton of other books that I'm reading sometimes, going into, I don't know, I would love to reread some Thomas Pynchon at some point, and then maybe that's something that I would benefit from doing, like a rather close reading kind of course it will benefit from that, but it's not exactly your average like fantasy. It's not even fantasy in the strictest sense of the word, so I don't know, wondering what to do there, as well. I mean, I'm not seeing myself so far as part of the booktube community. I don't do TBR lists. I don't do book hauls. Obviously, I don't do monthly wrap ups. Although those maybe make the most of sense of all these um, things that seem to be obligatory or mandatory for people that see themselves as part of the booktube community. I also rarely do tags or anything like that. I just do malazan and stuff that comes into my mind. And I'm also obviously really bad at all the other things. I mean, I don't do thumbnails. Um, yeah, all these other things that seem to be so important, I suck terribly at because I'm not, I'm just not used to it, I guess. And thumbnails are something that I can't do myself. So I would just need to stay with the auto-generated ones from YouTube, because if I would ask someone to do thumbnails for me, looking at the way I usually work, which is read something in the morning or like whenever, and then sit down in the afternoon, record the video, edit it for a very small value of editing, and upload it. And I oftentimes don't know what I will be talking about in the evening, so it's very difficult to ask someone to do a thumbnail for me in advance, so to speak. So I'm not sure how that will work either, if that's something I should do or not. So there's that as well. So I would certainly appreciate you people that are actually at least sometimes watching my videos, to chime in you know, what you'd like me to do, like how I could make these videos more interesting to you, how I can make this more fun for you to watch. I can't do a mead video every week because that stuff's expensive. Also, I guess it will get boring rather soon. But there might be other things that I could do that are like a bit more than just me sitting here and rambling, if that's something you'd be interested in. Once again, I don't know. So yeah, there's all of that I'm just undecided because I didn't plan this at all, and I usually avoid good advice. It's something that I really don't like. So all these like how to do YouTube things, I'm not doing any of that, which might be a problem. I should probably go and put like tags in my videos, which I don't do for like really dumb reasons. But there's that as well. So I don't know. So yeah, that's like the first part of it. It's like, please let me know what you think I should do, or not think I should do, but what you would like me to do, what you would really be interested in, appreciate. I can tell you one thing is, like, if I gain another 99 subscribers right now, I will reach the magical number of 666 subscribers, and that's, I guess, when I will do the like heavy metal and fantasy books video, I guess, to celebrate that. It just feels like a good idea. So yeah, there's that. So please let me know what you'd really like me to do in the future. So just that I can, like, start thinking about what of those things is possible and what is not. I don't know. Go nuts in the comments. You want me to, I don't know, do sword fighting? I will think about whether I can do sword fighting or not. Stuff like that. So I don't know. Let me know. That's like the first half of it. Now the other half is sort of slightly more philosophical and selfish at the same time. And that is that over the last couple of weeks, several people have asked me why I don't have a Patreon for people to actually, support me financially. And that's a really good question. So I figured first of all, like, I'll ruminate a bit on it. And then I'll obviously also ask you if you would think that is something I should do or should not do. Just have that debate, because I feel it's an interesting debate, and I also feel it's a debate that has, weirdly enough, a very, like, depends on where people are from, has sort of a cultural bias to it in a way, which I find interesting. And then in the end, obviously, the question is whether, like, if you think it's something that I should do, or if you would feel that it would be, I don't know, too greedy or whatever for me to do something like that, then obviously also tell me all of these things in the comments, because yeah, I'm completely undecided about the thing. All right, so let's have us a thought about Patreon. Like, I know a lot of people are doing Patreons. I personally support very few Patreons, but that's mostly because I'm usually, I don't know, A, I don't have that much money, and B, I'm usually someone who I every time I think about supporting a Patreon, I'm somewhere where I can't just like go and do it, and then when I'm back in a situation on my phone or my computer when I'm like, yeah, right, I could do this now, then I usually forget to support Patreons that I want to support. So there's that. And I don't know how that works. Anyway, so I in principle, I really appreciate the idea of Patreon supporting creators of all kinds of things that do great stuff, by giving them constantly a little bit of money. Obviously, with the other stuff that I do with the record label, I have some, other things where, like, supporting artists is like a super important thing, and I'm aware of the fact that almost all artists, whether it's musicians or painters or whatever, are constantly underpaid, because we as a society, a capitalist society, undervalue the arts immensely. I'm aware of that. I'm even part of the system when I think about how little I can pay cover designers for, like, a record label or for my albums or whatever. They should be paid much more, but I can't, because once again, people don't pay enough for the music, so that I can then, and so forth. It's a mess, and something like Patreon is obviously a great way to change that whole attitude for people, like actually paying artists just for being artists, which I think is an amazing thing to do. So that's my first thoughts on Patreon, which as I said, I really appreciate that. Now we're coming to the, like, weird part of it, where it might just be me being a personal kind of, like, I don't know, and that is valuing yourself and seeing what I am doing as worthy of patronage. I guess that's sort of what it boils down to. Which just shows that I still haven't, left that mindset, that dumb consumer capitalist mindset behind. Because I'm sitting here and I'm like, if I would put up a Patreon, what could I offer patrons that would actually make sense? Because I'm in a position where I'm like, why would anyone actually, just for me sitting here and rambling, why would anyone want to give me money for that, right? That's sort of what is so difficult to get over. And I feel this is maybe even more of an issue with a maybe European, but definitely a German background, where this starts feeling like begging, and begging is obviously has a very negative connotation for a lot of reasons for a lot of people. And not seeing what I do here as art, I guess, is pretty, like, no, this is not art. The idea of the creator of content is, is a weird one for me to get used to, because it also makes what I do, like, into a commodity of a way of sorts. And I'm like, I don't know if it's that, because I guess what it means is that once I do something like this, and like once I go and do a creative Patreon, what I produce here becomes something of a product in a way. And that's an interest, like, that's way different to think about suddenly. Like, if I don't do that, I just, like, sit here and I record a shitty video, I upload it, you all, like, downvote it and tell me what an idiot I am in the comments. That's that. But once I start thinking of this, once I realize that some people would give me money for it, and I'm like, not sure how many that would be. Probably like, I don't know, 2 or 3 people, because they have pity for me, I guess. But that would mean that I would start to realize, like, start to feel like I should like offer more quality, higher quality in a way, and then I'm like, I'm not sure if I can do that or not. On the other hand, so my the demands on myself will probably rise, because that's just how I'm wired, and I feel that's something of an issue there. So that's, I guess, the other things, like if you like support, and that's the crazy thing there, right? I don't feel like that when I'm supporting patrons. I'm not like, I'm not expecting huge returns from that, at all. But when I'm sitting here like, that doesn't feel right, which is weird. So I guess the big question here would be, if I would do something like that with, like really asking for really little money, like in the way of, I don't know, buy me a beer per month or something like that. Is that something that you would feel I'm justified in doing, that I like should do, or is that something where you would feel like I'm like begging too much or ripping you off or something like that? I mean, I was always also thinking about what I could offer as like different perks and stuff like that, and there's probably some things I could do. I mean, I don't want to start yet another Discord community. There's so many out there, and I feel having a Discord with like 10 people on it feels, they're super slow. And the question is, why would you want another Discord? I'm barely able to keep up with what's happening on Iskar's Discord, so I would never, not never, but right now I don't feel like doing something like that is a good idea. And I also feel like these weird, like, getting a different Discord rank or something like that feels like I don't know. So I don't feel like giving that out as something of a Discord, as a like a perk for patrons, Patreon, like patrons on a Patreon. So that's like something I don't feel like. I mean, I've seen what other people do, like having like a Zoom hangout once per month with like patrons, and to talk about stuff feels like a good idea. Stuff that like other booktubers do, that booktubers do, like let people vote on TBRs and stuff like that. Obviously, I can't do that because I don't have TBRs and stuff like that, because I don't want to tie myself into a reading list. I want to, if I discover a book today that I feel like I really want to read, I want to go and read that tomorrow, and fuck the TBR. So I don't know. I guess I could offer like hand knit like scarves or hats, I guess, for subscribers. That would be something I could do. Things like that. I don't know. I just, yeah, I just felt like asking you people all of these things, because as always, I'm clueless. It's like one of the things that is like very much me as a person is I start something not knowing what I'm going to get myself into, then I'm getting super enthusiastic, and I still don't have a plan where this will be in like a year, or like half a year, or like in a month or two. And I'm realizing that I've reached a point here with this channel right now where I should maybe make some like plans in a way, at least a little bit, because there's people out there watching this stuff, and I feel some kind of responsibility for for people who are doing this. So that's why I figured I'll just ask you what you think about all of this, and if there's what your like feelings and opinions are. Please just go ahead and be honest in the comments and tell me what you think about all of these things. It's I mean, I would lie if I would say like having some money from Patreon wouldn't help me. Of course it would help me. It's not like a record label makes a lot of money. Mostly it loses money anyway, so it's not like I'm rich. But on the other hand, this is not a job for me, and I'm not sure what I would do if this would become a job either. So I don't know. Well, as I said, I don't know, so I figured I'll just ask people who are probably smarter than me, which is you. So please let me know in the comments what you think. Also, if you have thoughts on like the idea of Patreon and patronage in general, I'd love to discuss all of these things with you. So go ahead and put all of that in the comments, and I'll talk to you later about Malazan and talk to you about all of this in the comments. So yeah, until then, cheers.